A game delayed 20 years should be fossilized. This one still wriggles. Shantae Advance. Risky Revolution isn't a simple museum exhibit. It's the awkward missing vertebra that actually makes the series' spine make sense. You get the hair whip, the dance magic, the transformations, and the tectonic prank that lets villains rearrange sequin land like furniture. The hook is clean, flip the world's layers, open new paths, feel clever. The question is messier. Does a resurrected 2004 design sing in 2025 or cough up dust? Here's the setup without spoilers. Risky Boots builds a tremor engine under Scuttletown, literally rotating plate layouts, so deserts become docks and mines become swimming pools. Shantae chases 3 relic hunters, dives dungeons, and rides a giant flyer between regions. The humor is breezy, goofs, puns, and cheeky side characters, lightweight on lore, but very in series. It tiptoes around continuity because this is technically Shantae's second outing, finally arriving after the 3rd, 4th, 5th. You get it. Canon in this franchise is flexible yoga. Bold, take time. The Tremor engine is the design missing link between the Game Boy Color original straight shot and Revenge's layer switching. It's not just a gimmick, it's the thesis. You hit a switch, the foreground or background cycles, and somewhere a previously flooded shaft is now bone dry. Sometimes the effect fires off in a different zone than the one you're standing in. That cascading cause and effect makes backtracking feel like pulling a thread and watching the sweater reknit. It's a smart system that still feels fresh. That said, the game trusts you maybe too much. There's no map. Campe calls this authentic and liberating, arguing the stages loop smartly, dungeons are readable, and your brain is the compass. Camp B labels it inexcusable in a genre where tracking doors and secrets is half the pleasure. Both are right. In practice, the world's bite-sized regions and frequent returns to town keep you roughly oriented. But the moment you're hunting the last few secret squids or that one wishing well for a coin you found 20 rooms ago, the absence stings. The design wants observational play. Modern players want breadcrumbing. Friction achieved. Minute to minute, it's classic Shantae with a 2010-ish pace. Short hub chatter, linear-ish routes, and Zelda-style dungeon logic. Transformations unlock traversal, dance magic fuels combat and puzzles. And Rotty Tops sells upgrades that matter, especially the beefy fireball. The combat curves up nicely once you stack mobility and damage. Parry windows aren't a thing, but positioning and pattern reads are. On bosses, expect some HP sponge behavior. One camp reads that as old school pattern tests, the other as draggy. The fights telegraph clearly. Once you internalize cycles, the long bars feel more like a stress check than a DPS check. Structure and scope. Call it 5 to 8 hours depending on how thorough you are. That's just right for a throwback, long enough to ramp powers, short enough to avoid bloat. There's even a 4-player battle mode that rotates the arena every so often, turning safe platforms into spiked birthdays. It's extra not essential, but more thoughtful than a checkbox. Let's talk presentation, because it's doing double duty. 2 modes, Classic and Story. Classic is the GBA time capsule cohesive pixel art soup to nuts. Story swaps in modern UI, HD portraits, and cinematic boards over the same gameplay. They're clean and expressive. Some of you will prefer the pixel pure vibes, others will want crisp portraits framing the jokes. They're siloed, no toggling mid-save, which is a bummer if you like mixing flavors. On the plus side, animation is as snappy as way-forward fans expect, and the soundtrack bop-bops along that sunny, slightly flirty wavelength the series owns. Where the 2004 Bones Creek most is the save flow. Checkpoints are old school, and there's no autosave. In Classic, that reads as authentic. In Story, it can feel like stubborn cosplay. A couple outlets even reported crashes during review. We didn't hit showstoppers. But when a game asks you to find manual save points, any instability feels extra spicy. Translation. Save often, especially at region transitions. Now for 2 bite-sized lore theory snacks. First, narrative placement. Because this really is Shantae 2, some character beats seem gentler, like the world hasn't fully hardened around the later sequel's rhythms. Treat it as an archaeological layer, fun in its own right, not a retcon bullet list. Second, the Tremor engine as proto-multiverse. Mechanically, it's a layer toggle. Narratively, it hints that Sequinland is less a fixed map and more a kaleidoscope Risky can twist. If WayForward ever goes full 3D, this is their excuse to go wild with modular biomes and cause and effect puzzles in broader space. Critic spread is telling. One camp lands around good 7-10, praising the clever world cycling, charming writing, and tight length, dinging the no map and wordy scenes that occasionally overstay. Another goes higher, missing link realized, applauding boss design, transformations, and the delightful 32-bit look, while side-eyeing the save system and a crash or two. The high score crowd even frames the no map as a feature, observation over overlay. The truth is you'll feel how you feel by hour 2. Either the no map tension locks you in or it needles you. Pricing at $25 is fair for a polished time capsule with a new coat of paint and a handful of extras. There's also outfit choice at the start of a file, pure cosmetics, cute touch, and a fast travel loop that keeps the tempo brisk. Performance on Switch was generally fine in our run, with handheld play looking especially crisp, thanks to that dense sprite work. If this kind of no BS deep dive is your thing, hitch a ride with Veteran Game and hit subscribe. We do story autopsies, gameplay breakdowns, and the occasional heretical take when nostalgia goggles fog the picture. If you're nodding or fuming, toss a like so this take survives the algorithm. Bottom line, Shantae Advance. Risky Revolution succeeds as a playable slice of alternate history. The Tremor engine is genuinely cool. The dungeons are smarter than they look, and the tone is classic WayForward charm. It also drags its GBA feet with saves and skips a map in a genre that mostly solved that a decade ago. For series fans, it's an easy buy. For newcomers, it's a friendly on-ramp with one caveat. If your joy lives in combing a map for 100% completion, prepare for some notebook time. Spicy closer. In 2025 is choosing no map, a brave design stance, or romantic stubbornness. Drop your verdict and how you'd fix it without killing the puzzle flow.